All right. What is this? Week 2, game 1. Bratty the Chatty Daddy, Boats and Hoens, Zeusamon, going Merry Christmas. Very, well, Brad has used his team fairly defensively, but to me it always looks like a hyper offense team with some solid water. Big change in his meta, in his mega this week. We'll see if that plays into this match directly. But we see the Zapdos against Kobe, the worst character in all of One Piece. He pretty much ruins the entire show.
Pretty much.
Stone Edge, but Zapdos taking that pretty well. It's going to show that it's going to be physically invested off of that big, super effective attack. And while the character's horrible, the Pokemon does have a decent attack. But his discharges, there's the paralyzed proc. Brad not getting on the first one, 30% chance off the discharge. But Zeusamon was able to set his rocks up, sacking his Mon to do so. I'm curious if he has two rockers with the just, putting in all importance on that, or if he was just expecting this one to stick. The Excadrill being a premium spinner. Very curious what shows up to face off against this Excadrill. I'm going with Nami the Manaphy. Very predictable tail glow there, just setting it on up. We saw he does have the speed off of that, so that is going to be a massive spell. Excadrill didn't stand a chance. But what does Brad have to check it? He's going with his Weavile. He's going to outbeat it with speed. The other option being the Slowbro if he wanted to try and wall it off, but with that kind of buff, it's hard to do so. But maintaining his lead. One Pokemon down on Brad, two on Zeusamon. Let's see how Zeusamon can bring this together. His team still has a lot of power, especially with that Aerodactyl who can outspeed, but the Weavile does have the priority. The other question is the item on the Weavile. Is it choiced into this knockoff? And in any case, who would you want to take the knockoff? Probably the Skarmory. I think it's got to be the Skarmory here. He's just got to try and attrition it a little bit, let the rocks do the work. He's a spinner. This is a Flameless Marco here. Yeah, another knockoff. Would still be a good move to hit, so it doesn't necessarily guarantee the choice, but still easily could be. And we see that Skarmory last week. Zeusamon brought a Skarmory with some special defense investment, it felt like. And without taking that knockoff, I would assume that one's the same, going for more of a mixed wall build. Possibly even a sweeper. Skarmory does have the ability to just kind of close out. And it does appear that that thing is spec'd, not going for any priority against the Mamoswine, knowing that it is going to bring the priority against you for the kill. But still, very much gotten its value. Removing that Skarmory takes a big chunk of Zeusamon's wall, but removing Vile is really going to allow the Lottie to come into play more. And here comes Arcanine. Not the best direct check due to the thick fat on Mamoswine. Mamoswine also able to threaten it out with, but it looks like he's just going for that Intimidate, and he's going to let the Zapdos just immune it out. The interesting thing here, though, is the Mamoswine does have the ice coverage for the Zapdos, but the Zapdos could Roost, which would also remove its weakness to the ice. Again, with the priority Ice Shard getting the hit in, and a Toxic coming out, playing the long game against it. Yeah, there's the 50-50 with the roost and the icicle crash. So if that had been an earthquake, a call on the roost, then it would have hit super effectively. Yeah, Brad just willing to spam it. A knockoff coming out. Yeah, there's no rocks on this mammoth swine. He is rocking full attacks. Bring it in the Lottie, just not wanting to die to the poison, knowing the offensive pressure of that mammoth swine is very important. And that ice beam hits hard. Zapdos did not like that. No paralyze on the discharge. That's going to allow this Lottie to continue to go off. Does Brad value his Zapdos further than this? It would die to rocks currently, so if he does not have a way to clear the rocks, he should let it die, and he does. The Thunderbolt coming out just in case there was a swap to the Slow Bro. Oh, Slow King. Apologies. But what is Brad doing here? His team's lost a lot of offensive pressure. It still has that Cloud Bird that can be very aggressive, especially after the Mega. Just getting the leftovers tick to heal up a bit of that Rocks chip. There we see the Thunderbolt, 51% hitting hard, and the Paralyze pays off there too. A second Paralyze, just massive paralysis procs. And I'm curious what move it was coming out of the Slowbro because it did appear to be going first there. There's the Ice Beam into the Altaria, just crushing it, but the return just gonna back. And unfortunately, the Mammoth Swine, or even the Aerodactyl, out speed here, but opting in for the Mammoth Swine, saving that Aerodactyl to 1v1 the Arcanine at the end. The Arcanine is already a little roughed up, and it's gonna have to take another Ice Shard potentially, unless it's packing the extreme speed to just kill. No extreme speed on Ice Shard. It's going for a Morning Sun right there, just allowing the Rocky Helmet to kill. He really likes this physical Arcanine. But let's see if it can match up to one of the kings of physical threats. The speedy Throne Rock, the Aerodactyl. There's that Mega Evolution. The Stone Edge hits so hard, and the Will-O-Wisp misses. A huge miss. Probably wouldn't have mattered at that, just being able to two. But that's going to be game one. Good game by both of our players. Let's find game two. Yeah, very interesting how that game played out. Zeusamon just removing choice threats while Brad just happy to remove anything, it seemed. And as always, because I constantly change my names, my account is not registered.
Good to go?
Good to go. Now here we go with the Zapdos leading into the Skarmory. The discharge spam begins. The Skarmory does not take that well, 61%. There goes the Mammoth Swine, but Brad calling it with the Toxic, but a very big avoidance. Brad saving that Zapdos, realizing how much of a nuisance it really is and going into the Slowking, but the knockoff that we saw last time just crushing its health. The Scald, good damage, and there's the burn proc. Good burn. He will be able to just hit the Ice Shard. Oh, but a Protect for the Scout. Just get that burn damage ticking. It's looking like it's going to be a trade here. But no, Brad valuing that Pokemon, keeping it up. It will die or anything like that, but it will also provide him a potential free swap in the future. Here comes the Manaphy, knowing it can outspeed the Excadrill here, goes for the immediate setup. Brad taking the opportunity to get the rocks out. We'll do a mid-game viewpoint switch. Oh, but the Regenerator on the Slowking, I forgot about that. How could I? But the Scald does finish it off with the burn tick at the end. Very fortunate burn to go ahead and get that kill and remove that problem. Altaria coming in to potentially resist what Nami has. But Ice Beam is what I'm scared of. There it goes, and it just crushes. Going into the Zapdos, but I'm just afraid of another Ice Beam. But what do you do once this thing's set up and healthy like this? The last game, I believe it was his Weavile that had to answer. He matched it with Sleep. But this time trying to match it with Bulk is just not working out as he's throwing out Pokemon into after Pokemon. Eventually opting in for the Weavile, getting the knockoff on. But the initial hit wasn't there to weaken it. Manaphy just able to run away. Nami just gathering all the coins, and there's a forfeit.